Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Glad to be diving in.
Today, we're plunging into a political development, really sending ripples across Nigeria. It's ignited quite a fiery debate as we look towards the 2027 general elections.
Yeah, it's certainly got people talking.
Our focus, it's the outspoken publisher of Sahara Reporters, Omoyele Sowore, also the presidential candidate for the African Action Congress, the AAC.
Right.
And he has very publicly, very dramatically distanced himself from a new opposition coalition. The fallout is, well, it's fascinating.
It really is a bold move, you could say.
Definitely. We're drawing our insights today from excerpts titled, Sowore Rejects Opposition Coalition of Thieves.
Strong title.
It is. And our mission for this deep dive is to really unpack Sowore's controversial rejection. This coalition, it recently adopted the African Democratic Congress, the ADC, as its platform.
Okay.
So we want to understand that rejection and also the really passionate debate it's kicked off online. Let's dig into the layers here.
Sounds good. Where do we start?
Well, Sowore didn't just, step back quietly.
Yeah.
He came out swinging.
That's his style, often.
He famously declared, and this is a direct quote, "I won't join thieves to fight thieves."
Wow, okay. No mincing words there.
Not at all. He branded the coalition, let me get this right, a recycled gathering of corrupt political actors.
Ouch.
And said it was born from personal ambition, not any real drive for national transformation. He argued it just lacks ideological clarity.
So basically seeing it as just old wine in new bottles, a vehicle for disgruntled politicians.
Exactly. But what does this stance, this really uncompromising stance, tell us about his consistent political philosophy?
Well, what's interesting, I think, is how consistent this is with Sowore's public persona over the years.
Right.
He's always pushed this very strong anti-corruption line, coupled with a, pretty radical reform agenda. His core belief seems to be that genuine change, real political transformation, it won't come from these established figures he's criticizing.
So where does he think it will come from?
For him, it has to be a true grassroots movement, led by fresh faces, people untainted by the past system. He views these kinds of coalitions not just as ineffective, but as the problem repackaged.
A problem repackaged, that's quite a phrase.
It is. He's essentially saying you can't expect different results if you're using the same people who, in his view, helped create the problems in the first place.
And his comments have just absolutely lit up social media. It's become a real digital battleground.
Oh, I bet. What are you seeing?
Well, on one side, you've got posts, really applauding him, praising his unwavering principle.
Like, finally, someone standing firm.
Exactly. Comments like, finally someone holding the line, or integrity over everything. That kind of sentiment.
Sure, I can see that appeal. Standing on principle.
But then, the other side of the debate is just as passionate.
Arguing for pragmatism, maybe? Unity.
Precisely. Arguing that unity among the opposition is, well, absolutely critical if they have any hope of dislodging the ruling APC in 2027.
Right. The strategic argument.
Yeah. This side believes that while, ideological purity is admirable, it might actually be counterproductive, especially if the main goal is to win elections and actually get a chance to enact change.
So you see arguments like, idealism is nice, but it won't win elections, or maybe don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good.
Exactly. Those kinds of points. It really throws up that difficult question, doesn't it? How do you actually balance principle with the pragmatic need for coalition building, especially in such a complex political scene?
It's a very, very tough line to walk. There are risks either way. Stick to your guns and risk isolation, or compromise and risk losing your base or your identity.
That's a really crucial point. Bringing it all together, Sowore's decision, it really highlights this fundamental tension in opposition politics everywhere, maybe, but especially here.
The dilemma between ideological purity
and the pragmatic, often messy need for unity.
Yeah.
It's a classic challenge for any group trying to achieve big change.
But maybe amplified in Nigeria's context with, the levels of distrust and cynicism that often exist.
I think so. Because the very act of building a coalition, of compromising, can so easily be painted as a betrayal of principle. Pragmatism itself becomes a political liability sometimes.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, Sowore's refusal, it says a lot about the inherent difficulties of political transformation, doesn't it? Especially in systems where trust is low.
Yeah. What does it reveal more broadly?
It really underscores how challenging it is to forge genuine alliances when there are these deep disagreements about who even counts as legitimate leadership for change.
And when the public is maybe understandably wary of seeing the same faces recycled again and again.
Exactly. It forces us to ask, can a truly transformative movement emerge from within the existing political structures? Or does it always have to come from the outside, challenging the whole thing?
Which is a huge question. And understanding these dynamics, it matters to you, the listener, whether you're just trying to make sense of the political news you see every day.
Or maybe thinking about strategies for change in your own community or context.
Right. Or even just appreciating the complex tightrope walk that leadership and resistance often involve anywhere in the world.
Hmm.
So ultimately, our deep dive today leaves us with this question, really, for you to think about. In the pursuit of significant change, how do you weigh that demand for unwavering principle against the strategic imperative sometimes for broad unity?
What stands out to you as the most effective path forward? Is there even one single answer?
A tough one to ponder.